Well, from gift shopping to car shopping, many consumers actually purchase cars around the holidays, with December often considered to be the best month to purchase a vehicle, according to Edmunds. So with rates coming down, how do you choose the best car for you or a loved one this holiday season? Here with some tips, we've got Ivan Drury, who is the Director of Insights at Edmunds. Ivan, great to have you here with us. All right, so when do I know I'm really getting a deal that's worth the big red bow that they're going to slap on that vehicle that I got to drive home?
You're going to know when you drive away and you don't question every single part of the deal, right? It's one of those things where it's inevitable, though. It's literally the second thing that comes after signing the paperwork is, did I get a good deal? And thankfully, you can go online, you can find out what other people paid. You can look at what the interest rate was that you got versus everyone else. Like, thankfully, you can check those things now, right? The cloak and dagger, the black magic behind, like, the transaction, that's a lot of that's like very transparent now. So thankfully that component you check and you look for comps specific to you, right? The vehicle, the location, people's similar credit scores, things like that. But it's one of those things where we are starting to see more deals in kind of like a universal manner because there are too many 2024s on dealers' lots. And like inventory is improving in that sense. So it's not nearly as sketchy as it was 2 years ago when everything was so tight.
What trends are you seeing in what buyers or potential buyers are valuing when they go to purchase a car right now?
We're actually seeing kind of mixed results in the market right now. If you looked at EVs 2 years ago, they were the hottest selling vehicles out there. Right? People are trying to buy them sight unseen. You got reservations now. Complete opposite. OEMs are putting a lot of subvention on leased interest rates. They're trying to put a lot of money, cash on the hood for EVs too. So it's something that you can get a deal on those almost universally. That's everything from luxury to mainstream. And on the flip side, the more traditional, with the hybrid or the plug-in hybrid, those vehicles in which people are kind of bypassed for a few years in order to go full EV, they're back into kind of consideration to the point where some of them you still have to order ahead. You might have to even, wait for months in order to get the vehicle you want. So we're seeing kind of a shakeup over the last few years as to what a consumer's priorities are. And I think when you look at interest rates being as high as they are, even if they're coming down a little bit and you're starting to see more promotions from automakers, is something in which that basic transportation, that's top of mind again. A lot of flashy stuff, not selling as quickly. People can just go to point A to point B in a reasonable manner.
Really interesting. All right, figuratively and literally kicking the tires on EVs and then on hybrids, willing to wait, it seems here. It's interesting. One of the first lessons that you learn about cars, and most of them, is that they lose value the second you drive them off the lot, almost instantly here. So getting in a negative equity position, how do you avoid doing that?
Number one is you gotta love that vehicle that you buy, right? It doesn't matter what it is when you see it online. You don't want to fall in love online. This is something in which when you go for a test drive, go for a test drive. Go under conditions that mimic your real life situation. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, that's not enough. You gotta drive roads that you drive on a regular basis and think about all the different use cases for it. It's one of those things where, yes, you might like the color or you like certain features within that vehicle, but if there's something, that one thing that nags at you while you're test driving, that could cause you to come back to the market too soon. Some people come back within a matter of weeks or months. We see people have negative equity. They'll come back. The average age is 3 years old. It's like 3.5 years old. So if you got like a 7-year loan, 6-year loan, odds are you have not chipped away enough at that principal amount to kind of be where your trade-in price is and break even. So really, it is love what you're buying. If you love what you buy and you got a 7-year loan at 0%, fantastic. That doesn't matter. But if you're signing up for like a high APR loan, this matters even more. Remember that the front end of your loan has more of the interest paid towards it. You're not paying as much as the principal. So again, that's another issue, right? You might be making $800 a month payments, but how much of that is going towards the vehicle's value versus just paying the bank?
That's a great point, Ivan. Just lastly, while we have you, and let's go kind of like one step deeper within that and just focus in on electric vehicles. How can people who are going out and, as you were mentioning, trying to be a little bit more diligent about making sure that they're purchasing the right electric vehicle for them, how can they make sure that it's worth it? And is it worth it for most consumers?
Yeah, number one, you got to look at, are you going to go new or are you going to used? The thing is, in the new market, if you qualify for a lease, right, if you have top tier credit and you know you're going to keep this thing for those 3 years, it's not going to be, hey, I've never had one, I'm just testing the waters. It can be a fantastic deal for you. You know, we're looking at lease prices, monthly payments, only like $600, actually a little bit less than that. Whereas, say 2 years ago, it was close to 900, $1,000 easily. But there are so many incentives on the new ones, you can get a smoking deal today. Used, it's the same thing. You know, when the new prices on EVs were sky high and people were essentially flipping them in the used market, that's come crashing down. Now you have off rental, you have off lease, you have a ton of supply in that used market. So you're looking at something like 28K for a used EV that might have had a sticker, something closer to 60, $70,000. So again, it's one of those things where you can fall into kind of a problematic area if you are not fully sure whether or not this vehicle is for you. The best way with the EV is to go beyond a test drive. I'd even recommend something like renting one for 3 days, 5 days, an entire week. You know, see what your lifestyle is with an EV. You have prior experience, fantastic. If you've ever owned one of those kind of early adopter EVs, even better. You know what to expect. But if you've never had one before, if you're a mainstream consumer who's like waiting for technology to catch up and for things to become easy and convenient, take as long as you can with that decision.
Edmunds Director of Insights, Ivan Drury. Ivan, I'll tell you what, I like your vibe, man. You sound like a person that loves their car, and you can tell our producers what car you drive because you must love it, man. All right, great to have you here with us. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Cheers.